No indie band of the last 20 years has simultaneously taken themselves more seriously and less seriously than Animal Collective.
Crawling from the surf and in the water, the mirror, the what have we become?
Hey, it's Matt O'Leary, and it's time to talk about the 12th album from Animal Collective called Isn't It Now? This is just 1 year after Time's Gifts, and I just have to talk about it. I got into this band a little bit late. I think it was like 2014, 2015, something like that, and I just instantly fell in love with that golden period of the band from about 2004, 2005 to about 2009. You know, albums like Sung Tongs and Feels and Strawberry Jam and Merriweather Post Pavilion. I mean, that's the golden run in my opinion, and it's a pretty inexplicable sound. Like, they are them. It's singular. Merriweather, of course, being on the most accessible end with its sunshiny melodies and just iconic indie charm. Sung Tongs maybe being the least accessible, but I just feel like this band had and still has such an uncanny chemistry that every shift they take you on, every bizarre left turn on an album feels exactly right. But even albums on the outskirts of those golden years had some major wins for me. I think of like Centipede Hurts, which got a lot of critical hate at the time, I think, especially coming after Merriweather. There was some blowback, there was some disappointment from fans, from, just the critical music community. I love that album. I go back to it at least once a year for just a delightful little trip. So I was perfectly set up for my first album release in 2016 as a fan of the band, expecting something big, getting excited about it. So I pre-ordered the vinyl, which came with a random member of the band, of the four guys on the front cover, which love a gimmick. I like the album okay, but overall was a bit disappointed, which actually made me return the vinyl, which is kind of a petty thing to do, but, wasn't for me. Despite its zany and colorful and fun and fruity sound, Painting With was a little bit claustrophobic for me just on a production level. It was like entering a dark tunnel where I could hear my own panting. But after 6 years, on 2022's Time's Gifts, I could see the light. And on Isn't It Now, we've exited the tunnel. We've arrived at this breathtaking vista of sound because the mix on this album, the production, is unlike anything Anco's done before. The low end is thick and rich on this album. The bass lines are so carved out and they just come alive. Take Broke Zodiac, where the bass has kind of this dub quality to it, this R&B sort of thing. Definitely not indie rock. And that could be because of the producer they're working with, Russell Elevato, who's worked with Kamasi Washington and on some classic D'Angelo records. Elevato's commitment to analog recording really elevates this project, I think. And combine that with the fact that this was recorded in this rural Tennessee getaway instead of at home, remote, like on Time's Gifts, to a click track, I think it just adds a special warmth. Beyond the recording are some excellent and very diverse songs. I think Noah Lennox's songs on this thing are just better than on Time's Gifts. They're more melodic, more immediate. You might know Noah as Panda Bear. Going back to Broke Zodiac, I think you need hooks on an Animal Collective record to make it work. And he totally gives you that on both the verse and the chorus. Like, you're not waiting for the chorus because both are so strong and just great melodies. The song Gemini plays a similar role on the track list, again with a very punchy staccato bass line, which sounds a lot like Panda Bear's last record, a collaboration with Sonic Boom called Reset. It's very colorful, very chipper, like a lot of Noah's songs. I love that weird little synth part that sounds like a marimba, and then you got all those soulful vocal harmonies. It's like they've got their own little Motown backing vocal crew, it's like Animal Collective goes the Supremes. All the Clubs Are Broken is another short poppy track with some funky synth and this boom bap beat, but with some dorky hand claps. Totally unexpected, and again, just a great example of their chemistry as a vocal group. I love it when this band does like Panda Bear on top. He's got those vocal harmonies, and then you got AV or Deacon slipping in there below. It's a perfect balance of that Beach Boys inspired, melody centric voice mixed with the more personality centric baritone of the other guys. And speaking of balance, you got these short, poppy, melodic tracks balanced out by the more psychedelic, more mellow, more elongated and hazy tracks. Like this huge 22-minute epic Defeat, which, am I listening to a prog band right now? Like, what indie rock, what indie pop band does a 22-minute song? And Defeat whips out all the weird instruments with the hurdy-gurdy and the Celeste, going for just atmosphere and mood. Telling a story of these cruel realities around us and staying grounded like the spruce is a line, and, just refusing to accept the defeat of the loss of innocence and youth. It's really a nice microcosm for the album because it's one of the band's most exploratory, most youthful, even well past the prime of their career, well past the time when they were really driving the underground zeitgeist. And also, like, who could put the words spruce and sluice in the same song? There's a clear shift in the song around the 9-minute mark as the song just picks up the pace with this glitzy carnival moment. But most of the song is a true psychedelic trip with everything just slowed down to almost an anti-tempo. I like the melodies, I like the soundscape, but I do get a little bored at just how formless and sort of drawn out this whole track is. A.V. Terror continues this formless, tempo-less sound collage approach on the song Magicians from Baltimore, which does go over a little bit better for me. And the last 3 tracks continue to show the range of the band with the one and only Deacon song Stride Right, where he flaunts a very Father John Misty-esque voice that's a little more down to earth than Panda Bear or A.V. Terror. Just a sad piano song for something different. But then the last track, King's Walk, is like if Animal Collective formed a cult and lived an ascetic lifestyle in the mountains. It's like a processional, complete with these what sounds like overtone singing and then these stacked vocal harmonies. And this message of resilience, again, with a line like, the world's almost getting cooked, the world's tougher than it looks. I think fresh life, fresh hope, fresh wonder is a good way to explain this album. Does every moment land for me? Definitely not. I think there are some tedious points where things are just a little slow to develop, and then when they actually do, it's like not that rewarding. But there's also a ton of moments where I'm like, oh, I love that. And I'm just, again, filled with this pleasant surprise of like their exploratory mode on this album. I feel like they've really tapped into the open-mindedness, the creativity, the fresh perspective that comes with innocence and youth. The production is maybe my favorite on an Animal Collective record ever. I think it really brings to life that very scattershot instrumental palette. And yeah, just overall, it's a total breath of fresh air, this album, even more than Time Skiffs. So it's a 7, it's a 7.5, it's an 8 out of 10 for me, maybe on a good day. But what did you think about this album? Do you think it fits maybe in the top half of their discography if you were to rank the whole thing? Let me know. Of course, like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you so much for watching.